Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. This is our Star Wars Unlimited podcast where we talk about everything Unlimited and all of the cool happenings of the week. This is episode 26. We're going to be talking about Planetary Qualifiers Week 1 results and analysis, as well as all the new spoilers that have come out, plus one prediction that came true. So, kind of hilarious, and it'll be kind of fun to talk about. Unfortunately, JJ will not be here tonight. He had a personal thing come up and he had to take care of for his family. So hopefully everything is going good on his end as he takes care of that. But joining me, as always, is Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. Busy weekend. Had a store showdown yesterday that I didn't know about until like 2 hours before the event, so I hoofed it out to Eternal Warren and then had one today. That one I did know about.
Yeah, fun. I actually did not get to play any showdowns this weekend. This is like going to be the worst season. Like one of my favorite characters, the one I said was going to be real good, I get to play one time this whole season, and then we're going to be on to like set 3 before I even get to play her again. So it's I don't know. I had a good weekend. We had Pumpkin Fest. There was like a whole pumpkin holiday here on the west side in my little town of Zealand. So the kids we're all in the parade, so I had to be there for part of that. So we went downtown, had some, a little bit of wine and got some candy and all that fun stuff. And then today we went apple picking. So I got my exercise in. How about that? Instead of sitting at a swoo table, I got exercise in because they got rid of the cart that takes you to the corn maze. And then I got lost in a corn maze today. So if they would just put Star Wars trivia. And I seriously, I think what happened is I think somebody went to the signs and switched the signs. Because like we went from sign 2 to sign 3. And then sign 3 took you around. And then I found sign 4. And then you go around where it tells you to go, and it takes you back to sign 3. And so I have a feeling somebody switched sign 3 and 4 is my theory. But
that's awesome. I would totally do that.
Somebody did that, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so I got quite a bit of steps in today, walking around a corn maze. So that was kind of fun. I got a little bit of sun, more than I thought I would, which will probably be the last sun we get. I bet it was nice out today.
So. Yeah, it was nice today.
Yeah,
you gotta come to the right coast of Michigan and play some of our store showdowns. We still have a bunch.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to. We'll see. I have next weekend I have the Planetary Qualifier in Chicago. I am going to. So next weekend we will still be casting, but I will probably be very tired. I guess it's Saturday, so I have Sunday to recover. And then the week after that is my daughter's birthday and my buddy's birthday. And then we have like 2 concerts and like a whole bunch of gibberish stuff. So I might get to squeeze it in on the 19th to Store Showdown. And then if I don't go do the hockey thing on the October 26th, I do believe you guys have a couple out there that weekend. So that I can actually go to.
That'd be fun. Sucks that you can't make it to mine on the 20th.
I know. If I would be gone for like 6 days. I don't think my wife would like that one.
It's understandable.
If you could move it to the Saturday, I could get a hotel room and spend the night and then come home later in the day after I bomb out. But if I come over to your side, like I feel like I'm forced to run. Like if I come over to your side, I'm running Boss Blue. That's what I'm going to run. Just because if everybody's running Palpatine, I don't want to be the 7th guy running Palpatine. It seems a little silly.
That's the fun thing is every round everyone plays a Palpatine.
I don't know.
Full rainbow.
Full rainbow. You know me.
We're brewing up some yellow Palp for this. I got a couple players who are working on it. We split up into 2 different philosophies. One of it's more of like a typical yellow exhaust kind of control. The other one is just play a bunch of ambush units and use that to take them out in the early game and then figure it out from there.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun. So, well, you want to go over spoilers first or tournament results first?
Ooh, that's tough. I do love me some spoilers, so let's go through that.
All right. Welcome to our Galactic Gazette, where we talk all the spoilers of the week. All right, welcome to our Galactic Gazette. So it's funny. One of the leaders JJ predicted was going to be here, right? So
I do remember me going, I've never heard of this ever in my life, and you poo-pooing him because, like, that's a really obscure character from some random book.
yes, I did not know he was
Which
in
I think
Clone
is both
Wars.
justified.
Yeah, I had no idea he was in Clone Wars too. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, with the Asajj, poll and stuff like that. But if it feels a little weird, actually, I have that pulled up. These were our predictions, right? These are our actual predictions. So we all got Dooku right.
It's never the wrong color.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, we got it all the wrong color, but we did get Palpatine or Dooku correct. JJ actually I guess I can highlight them, can I? I can just highlight these, right? So JJ actually got Newt Gunray correct, and in the correct color too.
Yes.
I can't believe that.
I had Newt Gunray, but I had him as yellow, and you had him as red. So hopefully one of us was going to make that color.
Yeah. You had Watt in the green. So that was completely correct. Let's see here. I had Watt as red. You had Django red. You both had Maul as red.
Yep. Both had Maul as red. All of us. You had Django correct as the yellow, one of the yellow guys. I swear to God, if JJ gets like Moralo as well, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I think we quit. That's what
he wins every poll ever again because no one could guess that. We did all have Blue Obi. I think that was a very reasonable, easy to see thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have what, eight more leaders or something like that left.
I think so. Yeah, we'll count in a minute because I actually have the other screen pulled up too.
Yeah, we all got the green Padme. You and I did call Captain Rex, but we do not have the right color.
Yeah,
which is cool. And I believe that's all that we have totally correct so far. But man, you just want to talk about them now, right? Like, I have some things about the other leaders, so if you want to go into Quinlan here, or if you want to continue highlighting things.
I don't know. Yeah, it seems crazy. I didn't know if did you want to know how many we had left?
I don't care about that.
Oh, okay. Because it looks like we have 4, 12, 6. We have 12 spoiled.
Yeah, we have 10
minus 2 because 10.
Yeah,
so we have 6
10
more.
Spoiled.
Yeah,
cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. So Quinlan Voss is the first one, and it's called Sticking the Landing. He is a Force Jedi Republic. So he is that villain, which I was a little confused. But I guess like if you go to the Clone Wars the actual Clone Wars series, he does appear in there. I looked it up. I don't remember him, but he does appear in there. His text says, when you play a unit, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit that costs the same as the unit you played. So basically, it's always turned on at least once a turn as long as you play a unit. And if you're playing Hero Yellow, you're probably playing a unit at least once a turn. And the nice thing is it doesn't have to be like a hero unit, a villain unit, or any color. It doesn't matter. You just play a damn unit.
As long as it costs the same as the other one, right?
Yes. Yep.
So they play a super laser tech, you play like an Ezra, and then boom, 1 damage to the super laser tech, and you did really bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, but then they get a free resource without having to do anything for it. And then basically you flip him at 5 resources, which I think is pretty reasonable. And he's a 3/7 again. So he's like, this is like the Boba. This is the yellow Boba BS, except for 1 less attack. But he is a Force, and so I want to make sure, like, to point that out for Force, especially because Force Throw and some of these other like Force ability things, like, all come online with him. Like, it's there.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with the Chariot, right? In the first set, like him being at 5, but more importantly, he's a Force guy, so you can start chucking Force throws and Jedi lightsabers and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's actually a little dirty. his unit says when you play a unit, so this is basically every time you play a unit, you may deal 1 damage to the enemy unit that costs the same as or less than the played unit. So now it doesn't care if it's the same cost; it just cares if it is equal to or less than. I'm gonna say, like, I will say this is probably not the best leader in the whole set, but this leader is pretty good for what he can do, and it's all passive. It's just a passive thing, which I like the passive so much better than the I have to spend an action to do things. This weekend, my son and I were playing around with Ahsoka and Grievous just because we could, on a program I won't mention the name of, but we were playing around a little bit with them, and they like Grievous is having to use that action was such a pain sometimes, just because it's like you're one action behind with the Sentinel thing, and sometimes it just doesn't matter. Other times it did matter, but mostly it didn't. So like this just being a native ability, I think is really, really good. So like I wouldn't rate this guy as like the best character that we've seen, but I will say that this feels actually, especially in Hero Yellow, feels pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're going to play presumably more of like a mid-range kind of style, right? Because you want to match whatever they're doing. So if they're playing, whatever's on curve and you're playing something on curve, you can actually get its ability off. I really like his leader side. That's terrifying. But also he's a common, which means he'll show up in sealed, and I think he's really good in limited formats.
Oh, I agree with you on that one. Yeah, I think like he will be one of the best that you can get, especially because Hero Yellow is so good. So good. And you got to think, like, I'll say you got to think when you play a unit. So this doesn't say you have to play it by paying its cost either, right? So there's cards that work with this that get you to play units too, right? And now all of a sudden, all those battle droids sitting across the table from you, just they don't have to exist anymore. Oh, Grievous, you made that one to Sentinel. I don't care. It's dead.
The token units are cost 0.
Mm-hmm.
So like you'd still have to. Creating isn't playing, right? So I'm not sure if you could just like play something and then ping one of the battle droids. So, but still, like anything that's not a battle droid seems pretty solid. I like them.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's really good. I think Yellow doesn't need any more help, but this Hero Yellow, I do feel that this is a spot that like Fennec kind of has, that we all kind of like nah, we don't like Fennec, right? This is going to give you a Luke-ish, but comes out a turn earlier and can like you have to take him off the table right away. Like you have to. You can't let this guy sit around for too long.
Yeah, just like you mentioned with Fennec, right? Like you just that ability is really, really good. I can't let them sit on that. Like some leaders you can sit on, like you don't want to sit on like a green Boba, the hero Boba, but like you can, right? Like you don't want to sit on like a Leia, but you can. Quinlan Voss, you're just like, man, if they're playing units and like I have a bunch of low health units, that's not good. Like free damage is always really good, and just every time he drops it, that'd be really scary for Ewing reinforcement too, right? Because everything that you drop with the Ewing reinforcement, its cost, you're going to do a damage out too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is really good. I don't know. Like I said, I feel that I think you're right. I think this is going to have to be a mid-range type of deck to do anything. Maybe you can make it kind of a tempo deck, right? But really, you just got to be careful. So,
I mean, if there's like a heavy aggro meta, you can still just play low costing cards.
Yeah, but I think he's good. I don't know. Enough said. Let's move on to what?
Yes, I got Wat Tamborite. Look at that. He's a green villain. He seems actually also really cool. So, as an action, you can exhaust him, and if a friendly unit was defeated this phase, give a unit +2/+2 for this phase, which is really strong when you have a bunch of cards that have exploit,
Yeah.
And then he comes out on 5. He's a 3/6. and he's an official. He's a separatist official, which is cool. On attack, if a friendly unit was defeated this phase, you may give another unit +2/+2 for this phase. So it's the same thing as his normal action. But that seems really cool. Also, there is one guy from the first set, because I was thinking about getting multiple attacks in with Watambor, right? Because
Mhm.
he's still at the 3, so you can actually do something like aggression or like, all the stuff that readies that they
Mu-
built for Grand Inquisitor to
Yep.
ready him again. And like Mahdi can ready him. And if you kill the Mahdi, you definitely has his ability active, right? So like it's a bunch of really cool stuff like that you can do being at the 3 attack
Yep.
trigger.
Yeah, and it kind of like I said, some of it is it makes those droids not like now you got to be a little more, now they're a 3/3, right? And that's pretty good. You know,
Your droids are battlefield marines now.
yeah, and so there's a lot of droid ability to build. I'm actually very excited for what I actually, I don't know, I play too much villain. I think that's part of my problem. But I actually think that there is a way to possibly make this some sort of like a tempo-ish, even maybe an aggro-ish type deck with battle droids and some of these other low costing characters where you can just like terrorize the field with him.
I mean, there seems to be a fair amount of green cards with like exploit, like you got the separatist battle tank and stuff like that, right? So like you can sack your own units and then just buff up another one. And who cares if they're the 1/1s, right? You're giving another one 2/2.
Yes. Yep. So I think this is really good. And like I said, when I was playing around with Grievous this weekend, I mean, like I didn't have I'll be honest, I actually did not have a big problem getting units out on the field. And I did not actually have a problem with some of those battle droids and giving them different things. We weren't playing with Watt. I guess I should have been playing with Watt because I think like the issue I lacked with Grievous is I could get to that 20, that tempo 20, and then it started to stall a little bit, right? This I feel like I don't have to worry about that because I like, oh my god, you killed 2 of my battle droids. I got the third one sitting over here, and and there's no restrictions other than it has to be a friendly unit. That's it. There's like no cost restrictions. There's no number. There's nothing. It's just I don't know. This makes me a little bit excited right now. So
Also, as a side note, the art and like the framing of it and like the attire that he has, it looks very much like the father from Invader Zim, Professor Membrane.
no,
And I can't unsee it because it's just like the big goggles, the stupid trench coat thing, the gloves and everything. It just looks like an alien version of Dr. Membrane or Professor Membrane, and it's great.
he does. That's hilarious. So, and he's a separatist. He's an official too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like you can play Palpatine's Royal Guards with these things too if you really want to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of officials, and again, if you're running something like Mahdi, which works super well with his ability, Mahdi's an official as well.
So good. I like it. All right. So we'll do the first one is Wolf Pack Escort. It's a Republic vehicle fighter. It's a 1-cost 2/1. When played, you may return a friendly non-lead or a friendly non-leader non-vehicle unit to its owner's hand. So obviously this is not going to work with token units, but this still seems pretty good. Like I can recur my Leia. Like,
This seems insane. I
like-
love this thing.
let me play this and pick my Leia back up and could still afford to play my Leia in the same turn. Oh, did you want to play today? I don't know. I like it too. I think it's going to have the Republic tag, so it'll work with Republic. It's a 1-cost space vehicle. I don't know. Like, I hope we get some good card. Maybe this is why they were so shy about card draw, right? Is because if we play some of these really good 1-2 drop units and then like can just draw 3 or 4 cards, we're now screwing the system over.
I mean, remember like the thing that he works with, like Wolfpack was with Plo, right? Pretty sure I learned this from X-Wing. Plo Koon is also yellow, and he's the 3/6 ambush with coordinate rate 3, right? So like when he starts getting low on health, you just pop Plo Koon back up and then drop him down for another 6 ambush.
Yeah.
Seems really good. Like I think this is a really solid card. Also, that hyperspace art will be gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a common, so you'll be able to get a bunch of those.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll bet I'll have 20 of them.
I like this card a lot. Just bailing you out. I mean, it's a non-vehicle, right? So like, you aren't doing the space units, which I guess kind of makes sense. But I don't know, just the bounce something back into your hand for 1, and also have a 2/1 body in space seems solid.
Yeah. It's hilarious. That's the clone Z's or whatever that we had in X-Wing. Like,
Yeah.
do you imagine if we had like a really cheap one that did nothing? I have like 4 of those stupid models too.
It might be also interesting in that Fennec deck. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, ambush that in, pick something else up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll get to that. All right. What's the next one, Alex?
I'll take Lumi. So yeah, Luminara. I have no idea. Nduli. Never heard that said in real life. So, is a 7-cost blue hero. Force Jedi in the Republic. She's a 4/9 with coordinate grit. And then when played, you can choose a base and heal 1 damage from it for each unit you control. So if you're going like super wide and this is like your top end, you get to heal a bunch of damage, which is cool. But also, when you're going wide, you have coordinate and then a 9 body with grit. It already starting at 4 is really scary. It's like Chewbacca leader without the Sentinel and 2 extra attack.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think this card's super good because of the pure fact that you're gonna get that like healing with, it's not a Sentinel, I guess, but you get that healing like right away, just like you do with the Redemption, except for you don't have to put the damage on her, So I will tell you, when we thought, oh, maybe, I don't know how hard or easy it's going to be to spawn these clone tokens or these battle droids. It's a lot easier than we thought, just so you know. Like, I was a little, we were a little concerned that it would not be like, it's pretty impactful. Like, it's going to be those tables are going to be full of cards. So, oh man, I can't wait to play Overwhelming Barrage on somebody's table.
If you have mono blue, you can give her Sentinel with the card Protector. Just make her a 5/10 with grit and Sentinel.
That sounds dirty too. But I mean, she even works with this other card. You could pick her back up after you healed and, play her again the next turn. So,
or if you just have 8 resources.
Yeah, true. Okay, if you have 8 resources,
yeah, just do whatever. That was really cool. I like Lumi. I liked her in X-Wing, so I could assume that I like her right now. So it's fun. It's cool. Man, really make sure that you kill everything around her and not her, so you can turn off that grit.
Yeah, because otherwise she's just going to be a menace. All right, self-destruct, new red villain tactic, which is hilarious because there is a Wookiee that's dying, I'm guessing, on the card art. So, defeat a friendly unit. If you do, deal 4 damage to a unit. So he's very good in Palpatine. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this card seems really good.
I mean, it seems really good for like battle droids. Like if you have a bunch of battle droid tokens, right, one of them just blows up for 4 damage.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool. I'm not sure if it will be like a staple, but I'm sure you can definitely add it into decks to make it like, if you're just really wide but not a lot of damage or a lot of removal or something, you just play self-destruct and just do 4 decks. This is like, you sack off a unit to do open fire.
Yep.
And for some reason also it hits space units, so that's cool.
Yep, which makes no sense to me either, but okay.
Blow up a droid and, Wolfpack escort blows up.
Yeah, what'll be super good with this? When you play this with a Ruthless Raider, you play your Ruthless Raider down, and then you do your damage, and then you turn around, and next turn you can swing into it, and then you could destroy it and blow it up, do another 2 damage to base. There's 8 damage to base and 8 damage to units, so I like that. I probably shouldn't tell people that, because that is definitely a play you should do. All right.
It is nice to have also just more early hand damage for red. I mean, you got open fire, you got force choke and villainy as well, which this is a villain, so it's relevant. So it's just nice to have like more options for out of hand damage.
Yeah, and we need the options that give us like the bigger damage, like the Daring Raid that does 2 damage. Okay, that's good, but that's like this is 4 bloody damage. So I like it. It's kind of like a heroic resolve to some extent, except for you don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah. So up next, speaking of, is Chancellor Palpatine. Another legendary they revealed.
Mm-hmm.
He is a double yellow aspect 4-cost unit. He is a Republic official. It'd be very surprising if he wasn't. And he's a 2/6, which is he lives long enough, which is kind of frustrating. But his ability is each token unit you create enters play ready. And also, on attack, if a unit left play this phase, create a clone trooper token. So that's really cool that he just creates clones on attack.
Yeah. And you get clones, not droids, not droids. They're 100% clones this time.
And if a unit left earlier, when you create that clone token, it's still ready.
Yep.
Presumably, if Palpatine's still alive, he didn't die in the attack. So that's really cool. I feel like people are rating him incredibly highly. I'm not sure if I'd rate him super, super high, but like I think it's cool, like having readied token units. If you create a lot of them at yellow, there you go. I mean, there was that yellow black villainy card that just like boom, here's like 3 battle droid tokens. Yeah.
Yep.
On the doorstep. Oh, but they already come in ready, so that's probably just irrelevant.
Yes. But there is other things. I don't know. I think with the double yellow pips, I don't think he's as important. Like basically, he's a 6 if you play him in any other deck outside of mono yellow. So
yeah, and I don't think he's worth it for 6.
No,
we'll see. So. But that'd be kind of weird. Here's my 2/6 for 6.
Yeah, I think he's okay. I don't think he's great. I think it again. We have demonstrated we can get quite a bit of troopers and tokens on the field. The question now is can we get those in mono colors as easily as we can in a dual color deck? So if we can, then he'll be super great. If not, he's another official. He'll be fun to play. We'll see. All right, let's move on to Anakin's Interceptor. It is a 2-cost red hero. It is a 2/3 Jedi Republic vehicle fighter. So this is a Jedi. Somehow this is a Jedi. Like even though it's not a Jedi ship, it's because Anakin's in it, right? I don't know. That's where that's weird to me. The name of the thing is called Where the Fun Begins.
Yeah, this is where the fun begins.
So while your base has 15 or more damage on it, this unit gets +2. It's okay. It's
a space shore trooper is what I compare it to.
Yeah, it's nice that it's a 2-cost ship that you could put into space. That's about as much as I gotta say. It's the same way as like we all kind of thought Bo-Katan might maybe be pretty good. Nah, she's not really seen much play. She's okay, but this one is hero red, so maybe it'll see more play. I like the fact that it's just a 2-cost ship, so yeah.
Does it bother you that it's called the Interceptor, not like the Actus
or
the Gita?
Yeah. Yes, because they weren't technically interceptors per se. They were, but they were not. Anyway, whatever. We'll just keep moving because yes, let's
Space Shore Trooper, guys.
Yeah.
Up next is the Soldier of the 501st. It is a 1/3 for 1 red hero, Republic clone and trooper, and it just has raid 1. That's it. 2/3 raid 1 for 1, which isn't awful. Like I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great with being a red card. It feels like another color, I think it'd be better. Does that make sense? Like it's just kind of like
it's meh. It's the idea is that it's because it's a clone and a trooper. That's really where the big thing's going to come in for this. That's it. Like it's the keywords on this card that make this card decent and playable. other than that, like it looks really cool, but other than that, it's never going to get played. I mean, we could play the Heroic Renegade card, right? And it's, I don't know. There's lots of cards we could play. I guess they're not all one cost, but
yeah, like it's fun. It's perfectly serviceable.
Yeah. Sand Hill is the next one. This is a Separatist official. It's a 6-cost yellow villain 3/7. It's got exploit 3. While playing this card, defeat up to 3 units. So basically, you can reduce his cost and play him for free. On attack, for each friendly unit that was defeated this phase, ready a resource. So they're not going to pay you to play him. So I guess cool. I think he's super insanely good. And by the way, yes, this does work with ECL. So you can use your exploit, ECL this stupid guy in, and get 3 resources back. So you could also timely intervention him if you want. That's a thing too. He pays for himself.
3 attack. He's also a 3 attack, so you can ready him up with like Grand Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running that, which would be really terrifying.
Yeah, it's like a mini Boba resource generator, right?
Yeah, I like it. It's cool. More officials. Playing him for free is kind of cute.
I have played him for free too, by the way. He didn't live very long, so I never got my money back. But I didn't get to play him for free.
Yeah, I mean this is a cool card. I enjoy it.
I actually think this card has quite a bit of relevance with the exploit stuff. So I mean, like you were saying, those droids that you play for 4, that 4-cost card that lets you put 3 ready droids, you can literally then attack the base for 3. You can play that card, and it's basically like a 3 attack to the base, and then play this guy for free. Just so you know, you don't get your money back, but you sure as heck
ECL him out.
If you ECL him out, you could, yes. But I didn't play him with ECL. But yes, you this like, yeah, and he's gonna live probably, like he's got the health of a leader to some extent, right? He's probably going to live at least 1 attack.
Would certainly hope so.
But I could tell you when you have the 4 resources, I could tell you this is a very valid play to have this guy on the field. So it's just it is what it is. So I like it. I think it's good. What's the next one, Alex?
I have Political Pressure. In more ways than one, but that's the name of this card. So it's a 1 costing just yellow event, and just choose an opponent. They may discard a random card from their hand. If you don't, create 2 battle droid tokens, which I think is really funny and actually pretty solid.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that mess with the hand in yellow, not like straight discarded like red, but just like hand messing with it. So if like you're playing this and your opponent, it's like, well, you don't want to get rid of a random card in their hand because that's not fun. That hurts. But then you just give out 2 battle droid tokens, and if you have Palpatine, they're ready.
Yep. And there's that card from set 2 that allows you to negotiate with them, right? It's a 0-cost card where it says you can, is it exhaust a unit or you ready the resources? I can't remember exactly, but that card works with this one very well too.
Yeah, the what was that called? That was called Look the Other Way. Yeah, it's a trick, but it's relevant to 0. Just exhaust a unit unless its controller pays 2 extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if they have units out there, you can exhaust them. They pay 2 extra. You do this. They dump a card from their hand because they're not trying to give you any advantage. Seems nice.
Yep. All right. Bold Resistance. It's a hero red tactic. Choose up to 3 units that share the same trait. Each of those units gets +2/+2. Originally,
+2/0. +2/0.
I'm sorry, 2+2/0. Originally, we've seen these type of cards and they don't seem to make a big splash, but I will tell you, if you don't have the ability to take their units off the board and you don't have anything to do, you're going to have to hold to be against this card, because this makes those clone troopers 4/4s, by the way.
4/2s.
4/2s. Yeah, sorry. So Ahsoka flips. you can't kill all of them. You could play that base, by the way, that allows you to create battle droids. So they're not clone troopers, but they're battle droids, and those are three ones. Those are like mini Greedos. So I don't know. This card's okay. How about that? I think it's good for what it does.
If you're building something like a rebel deck, that still works.
Yes.
And they get more help, and that's scary.
Which is funny because this one's called Resistance, not Rebel. But
we get the Troopers energy, Clone synergy, Republic's energy, Rebels,
Spectre.
Yeah.
It's even funnier. Can I get all my Spectres to get all of that?
Play my Red Hera deck here.
Yeah. Come on, baby.
Yeah, but it seems fine. I'm sure there's ways that people will like break this card.
Yeah. I like that it's got Padme on there too. Just sitting there with her little blaster. All right. The next card is called Private Manufacturing. It is a neutral supply card. Draw 2 cards. If you control no token units, put 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. I just think this is a great card, period, because it allows you to tutor your deck if you don't have what you want. This card is amazing for it, and this is going to be super awesome in draft. If you get this in draft or sealed, like, this is great, because sometimes how often do you get like a really bad clunky hand in draft, and this just fixes that. You are paying 2 for it, so I guess that's that. But
I mean, if you like are playing anything that generates tokens or like a token focused deck, this is literally just like pay 2, draw 2.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Yeah. I think this is a great card. Like, I don't think there's anything bad. I have nothing bad to say about this card, actually. And I think the artwork is amazing, and I can't wait to own hyperspace foils of this card.
Yeah, it just seems like if you have no tokens, like worst comes to worst, you just draw 2, dump 2 back into the bottom of your deck. So it's not, it's neutral, it's hand neutral. Well, I guess technically it's a -1 because you're playing this card, but you're drawing 2, dumping 2. So that, yeah, like you said, can unbrick yourself sometimes. But man, I don't think creating tokens are super difficult.
Nope.
So you can just draw 2. It's very, very strong.
Yeah, and it's nice to see a card that and it's neutral, so it can go anywhere, and we can use it to play against like those silly pillage cards that just want to I thought hard control was annoying, but sometimes I think pillage is just more annoying because now I have to choose which cards I don't want anymore. But yeah, you have token units. This fixes that problem. And pillage is 4 costs, so somebody just burned 4 resources to make you get rid of 2 cards that you just get to get back for 2 costs. So not bad. All right, what's the next one?
So this is a Tri-Droid Suppressor. It is a 7-cost yellow unit. It's a 4/7. It's a Separatist droid vehicle and walker. And it's got exploit 2, so you can knock it down to 3, which is nice. And then when played, you exhaust an enemy ground unit. So if you want to sack off a couple of your units, exhaust the ground unit, and you got a 4/7 body. Seems okay. I feel like this would be kind of nasty and like Grievous, right? Because he's a droid, so you can give him Sentinel.
Yep.
It's weird that it's not villainy, but whatever. So you get the exploit in a yellow rebel or yellow hero kind of thing. But it seems fine. Like, it's solid. I'm not sure if it blows me away, but it's a 4/7 body for 4 sack 2. When played, exhaust the ground unit. Doesn't seem bad.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that it's going to work in token exchange decks like that. Like, that's where it'll be good. But I don't think outside of that it's going to see a ton of play. I mean, it is kind of cool that we got this. Like, I don't remember having this in Destiny, so it's a cool card. I do like it. I do like your idea with Grievous, though, making that a 4/7 Sentinel for 3. That seems pretty good. And and then you probably spent all your resources. You ain't got shit to do anyway, so you just claim and you can do it again the next turn. So seems pretty good to me. All right,
Yeah,
the next. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, and if Grievous is out, like it then becomes a 5/7, which is kind of nasty.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an okay card. I think it'll be niche in the type of decks, but it's definitely built specifically for like Grievous or maybe a Watt or something like that. You know. Yeah. Can you imagine making it a 6/9 with Watt? That's dirty, actually.
And you exhaust the ground unit.
Uh,
I mean, Watt seems nuts, but that's we already had that discussion.
All right. The next one is Poggle the Lesser. I think this artwork, like, it's not like super amazing where it's like, oh my gosh, this looks cool. It is absolutely hilarious. This is like, I can't believe we have Poggle in the game of all, like I didn't expect this. But it's just hilarious. So he's a Separatist official. He's a 2-cost green villain, a 1/4. And basically when you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit. If you do, create a battle droid token. So there you go. So we asked, how do we create battle droid tokens pretty easily? This guy.
I'm sorry, scanning officer. You're going to be replaced by Poggle the Lesser.
Yeah. Like especially because people will probably you won't need all of the smuggle hate as much anymore, I don't think. So
I'm just looking for 2 drops on official that like does something, either be 2 attack or helps me out in the early game, and then when I just play another thing, I just drop a droid token too. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be awesome, Palpatine.
I think this guy's really, really, really good, actually. So, but yeah, he is a 1/4, so he is only got 4 health, so you can kill him. But he's kind of like a sentinel, right? You almost want to kill this guy so that they don't keep creating.
Open fire him. Come on, pay 3 to kill him. That's fine.
Like, you just don't want to leave him just sitting on the board, you know. I don't know. He's like I said, I think he's good. I like him.
I like him as well. Up next, we have Morgan Elsbeth. I have no idea what this is. It's a 4-costing blue villainy. It is a 3/6. It is Force, Imperial, which I'm not sure if that's our first Imperial reveal, but it's still relevant, and an official. It's got Restore 1, and on attack, you may defeat another friendly unit. If you do, draw a card. It's a little bit like Palpatine. But you got a Restore 1, 3/6 body for 4. Seems pretty decent.
And she's an official again, so like she's there, and she's Force. I think the big thing is like she's a 4-cost Force unit now in villain. Now we're getting, and it's not red for once, you know.
But you can still give her the Fallen Lightsaber, and then she could just do 1 damage to everyone, Restore 1, and then kill a friendly unit to draw a card.
Yeah, feels really good in a Django blue deck, huh?
Yeah, you could do that with the Fallen and the Van Brace flamethrower, and just hit 6 units. Yeah, I mean, she seems pretty solid. I like her. I'd have to like toy around with something like maybe in like a red blue Vader deck or something, just to see what I can cook up. I mean, the Imperial tag is something not to scoff at. That's very relevant for certain things. Man, if you put her in like can you imagine her in like a Gideon deck?
Mm-hmm.
And I just bump her up to 4/7 and a 5/8.
Yep.
Not Gideon, Tarkin deck, sorry.
Yep. She does work with Tarkin. I think she's okay. I think a 4-cost 3/6 is just good. Just period. Like, I think that's a good stat line for that. But I think the Force is really like, holy crap, here you go. We got a Force unit in blue villain at 4 costs now. So the reason, like, so she, you know, so she's from the originally she's from the Mandalorian, where you see her, and then she also appears in the Ahsoka show as basically the main villain, along with Thrawn. Right, and so I'm hoping we get a Thrawn unit this set too, then, because if we got her, I'm hoping we get a Thrawn unit, which means we might get another Ezra unit too. And that might be pretty exciting. She is definitely not a Clone Wars thing. And the sad thing is it doesn't say Night Sister on here. That's where I feel they needed that Night Sister tag. But
Doesn't yeah, because Savage has
yeah,
that, right? Like the night, whatever that was called.
yep. He's a Night Brother, I think, but I don't
Night.
remember.
It was just called Night tag.
But yes,
so.
I really wish she had that, because I was hoping we get a little bit of synergy this set, and then maybe next set or two that would like come into play big. All right, so the next one is a 7-cost green villain. This was revealed at Spiel. This is Admiral Trench. The famous spider from the Clone Wars. So it's hilarious. He's an Admiral Spider guy. He's a Separatist official. He's a 5-cost or a 5 health, 5 attack. He's exploit 1. So you can bring him in at 5 if you want. When played, return up to 3 units that were defeated this phase from your discard pile to your hand. So I think it's okay. I don't think this is like world ending. We have cards that do that, but like now I guess you're playing a 5/5 unit. Because you're just going to exploit them in. There's no reason not to exploit this guy in. and you're going to have a 5/5 unit for 5 cost, and you're going to be able to bring back 3 units. I think it's okay. I think the native ability is okay. I don't think it's amazing, though, personally.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, like, I mean, the 3 is probably like a little Disneyland, trying to be like, you don't want to maximize him, like killing 3 of your units unless you really need to, right? Especially because you have to pay for him again. But it seems okay. I don't know. It's a really cool hyperspace, though. I like the pink.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It really depends on if we get like any more like super impactful units, but I can't think of any just like off the top of my head where just like, man, I can't believe Kraken died. I wish I had him back in my hand.
Yeah, usually when you're at the 5 resources, there's not a ton in your discard pile in green villain that you care that much about.
The Confederate Courier would be kind of interesting, though, because when those die, they create a battle token. So if you just like sack off a whole bunch of them and bring them back with Drench,
bring them back.
Maybe it's a little bit of a reach, but no.
How about this? It's okay. It's like one of those. It would be decent, I think, for end game type stuff or later in game. It might even. I still don't think the 7 cost is worth it, but maybe if you play it on, turn 6 or 7 or something like that, and you can bring back a more powerful unit. That you can play again, like a Maul.
Yeah, to me, it's just a 5/5 for 5. Return one of your units back to your hand. Yeah, basically, that's all he reads to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. It's nothing. Again, nothing world ending. All right, who's the next one?
Got the next one is good old Ahsoka. I know Cody was really excited for this. So it's a 3-drop yellow hero. She's a 3/4. She's got Force, Jedi, and Republic tags. While you control fewer units than an opponent, including this one, this unit gains ambush. And as an action, you can spend 2 resources, don't have to exhaust, to return this unit to each upgrade on her to their owner's hands. And she's a legendary. She seems okay. I don't know, right? Like, do you think that's like an incredibly strong legendary card?
No, because I mean, you're gonna play. If you ambush her in, she's got 4 health.
Right?
Is she gonna live? I mean, she can take a battle token off the table, I guess.
Like the thing is, you can, if you have 5 resources, you can ambush Ahsoka out and then pop her back up into your hand.
That seems horrible because I could just play Poe for 5. Sorry.
I agree. I mean, also like Syndicate Lackeys just hit for 5 and have 4 health for the same cost. So like it's probably a more apt comparison there. I don't know. She also doesn't have the Spectre tag, so sucks for you, Hera, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, Ahsoka's not like Spectre.
Okay, I don't know, man. I'm just
So-
going from X-wing.
I mean, technically, because technically Ahsoka it was like Fulcrum, right? And so like,
Right.
she was not part of the crew per se.
Okay, she just hung around him for all those episodes.
Not really. She wasn't
Oh,
around
okay.
during the episodes. It got all the way through like what is it, third season? I think is where they finally find out who she is. Maybe fourth.
I have no
Third or
idea. I never
fourth.
watched any of these. I just assumed she was just tagging along.
No.
Whatever. The
No.
3-4 ambush popping back into my hand. I guess like you also return your upgrades that are on her. So actually funny if your opponent plays a bounty, they get it back. So it's a slight negative, but I don't know. Like what are you gonna ambush her out if you have less units, including Ahsoka? So that's already a conditional ambush for 3, which okay, whatever.
Yeah, so they have to have 2 units on the board
Right.
for you to be able to ambush her.
They have to have 2 more units than you to ambush a 3-4 that you can pop back into your hand for 2.
Yeah, I think the neat piece is that you can spend the 2 to bring her back to your hand. So if you're worried about her dying, you can bring her back, but I don't think she's going to be as impactful as people think she is. I think like,
are people expecting her to be impactful?
Some people think this card's amazing.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're seeing that I'm not then.
I mean, it is like if you do run a Sentinel heavy deck, right? In Hero, you could like put her down, get a lightsaber on her,
like General's Blade or whatever on her, right? So
and so like there is some play there, right? Like there is some play. It's just not. I don't think I think her stat line, the 3-4, is what the like she should be a 3-5 or maybe a 3-6 or something like that. Then I would be like, yes, there you go, like that's good. But like a 3-4, I don't know. Like Ezra's a 3-4.
Yeah, like 3-4 is like what your typical 3 cost goes.
And he can let you. He just swings and he lets you play the top card of your deck if you can afford it. You know, so like that seems more legendary-ish to me than this. But I don't know. I like Ezra a lot though, so I play a lot of Ezra.
You remember that he has to live through the attack, right?
He does. I know.
Actually, I had a opponent earlier today. I gave him -4 with Jeddah City, and they're like, "Whatever, I'm still gonna swing into your base." Like, I can respect that. No, that's the correct move. It's just funny.
He still lives, right? So I don't know. I agree with you. I don't see this as like super. I don't understand the legendary piece, but maybe there's something that's going to come that.
Yeah, maybe there's something else over there. Because she doesn't seem like that great of a catch up like mechanic person, right? Because like you're down 2 units and she only does 3, and you want her to live, right? Like
So you can if you ignore the ambush, being able to spend 2 to bring her back to your hand is probably pretty good. I mean, I guess think about it this way, right? If you can ambush her out if they have 2 units and they're exhausted, or one of them's exhausted and she doesn't die, you can then just bring her back and ambush her over and over again, and that's pretty good. But I think that's really situational, and that's just not going to happen very often, especially late game. That's
going to be really expensive to kill one of their units that has 4 or less attack, or 3 or less attack, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. It is what it is. So
I can't wait to be proven wrong on this.
Well, let's go to the next one. I thought this is. I think this is a joke card, right? This has to be a joke card. I don't understand how this is not a joke card. The artwork is terrible.
I love the artwork. Are you kidding me?
No, this is awful. This is like Ren and Skippy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's so stupid looking. It's incredible.
I hate it. I despise this card just looking at it. Just it lividly bothers me to no extent. It is a 2-cost double yellow 2/3 Gungan called Jar Jar Binks, who looks like I don't know. He's running away, obviously. On attack, deal 2 damage to a random unit or base. I don't know how we're gonna do that. I have absolutely zero idea how this is gonna work. I swear to God, this has to be a joke card. Like somebody like FFG's got to go. All right, guys, this is our April Fools. We're just giving it to you in October. I don't understand. Like, what are we gonna like? You're gonna go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You're gonna bring dice and say like, you're gonna have to bring like a D20. What if you have all these token units out on the board? You know, I mean, you each have 5 units, and then you have 2 bases. Now you got to figure out how to roll a D12. Like I don't understand how this card's gonna work. I hope to God they tell us next week.
I can't wait to attack with Jar Jar and then immediately lose because he hit my base for 2. That's my dream.
No, that sounds awful, Alex. Why would you want that?
Because it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. This is great.
All right. Well, every deck you play, you should put this piece of shit card in there. I have
Red Palpatine. I'm paying 6 for him, baby. Let's go.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, if you win a game, then
Oh man, what do we give to someone who wins a game because they randomly hit your opponent's base and like bypass the Sentinel?
What do you give? You give whatever the most expensive legendary is. That's what you give them. Like, oh, here you go. This is you want a convention exclusive card, baby? Here you go. You know, like that's what you get. Every store should have one for the guy that gets to do that.
Here, it's your convention exclusive Black Mall.
Yep.
You earned it. Now play a real deck, please.
Yes. Okay, just so you know, in Destiny, there was a Gungan deck, by the way. I never played it, but there was an actual, like, you built your synergy around Gungans. So maybe we'll see that. I hope not, though, because I hated that deck.
What are the Gungans going to be like? Oh, this is Boss Nass. He's out here. You get any random effect. You can choose now. Like, they're not going to do something like that.
I don't know. I just know that it was awful in Destiny. It was not a very good deck. It was funny. We had a local. So when I joined Destiny, I didn't know anything about this. And some guy brought it and I didn't know how to play against it, but they were all indirect damage. So in Destiny, when you rolled your dice, you had direct damage and indirect damage. And that was the thing that you could do is you say, you guys take 1 indirect damage. So it allowed a little bit of control. That's what the Gungans were. They just indirect damage. That was it. You roll dice and there was very little direct damage. Everything was it was very random. You know, they could assign the damage wherever they wanted to assign it. Now, typically you only had like 2 characters, sometimes 3 in Destiny. So it's not like you had a big choice where you could put it, but I don't know. It's dumb. To the right, they had a reveal. There is going to be a 4-player, looks like a 4-player Twin Suns map. And it's not the best map, but it's pretty cool. I think I'll buy one just so I have it for the store.
I'm curious too if that's just going to be hey, this is our Twin Suns map, which makes sense. There's Twin Suns over there, or if it's hey, also 2v2 me kind of thing, which would be kind of cool.
There could possibly be that too. That could be a format we don't know about that could be coming. So,
do you appreciate also that all the ground units are on the planet and all the space units are in the space around the planet?
I didn't even notice there was. Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Right, look at that. They did something.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool. I'm not that'd be definitely something for the store and not buy it myself kind of thing.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's kind of cool to have. I've encouraged my store to buy 2 of them and just to keep them. I was like, I'll even pay for 1 if you want. I don't care. I think they look cool, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. How about this, Alex? So you do know, in my personal house, I have at least 1 other player that lives with me, and then I have both my sons that play. So I could buy this mat and actually use it in my own house.
That's fair. I mean, hey, if you could do it, that's fantastic, right?
So, all right. The other thing is, so the bottom. We'll go over the bottom right first. That's the convention exclusive mat. I have asked a buddy to pick that up for me. I'm hoping I get one of those. We'll see. I also asked for convention exclusive promo cards too. We'll see if I get that or not.
Do you think that would be at PAX Unplugged?
I don't know. I think they're doing different ones for every one.
Okay.
So no. If it is at PAX, that would be pretty
PAX is December. It's after the release of Twilight. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can see if I could get one for you.
Well, that would be awesome. I like this mat a lot, actually. Out of a lot of the other mats, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's the iconic scene. Maybe it's because if I play it, I'm going to play Obi-Wan and just yell hello there all the time. maybe I don't know. I like it. I actually just really like this mat. Like the overall color and everything. Just like it really plays in for me personally. I like to see a little Palpatine unit in the corner or something like that. That'd be kind of cool too. But I could bring my Lambda. I'll put my Lambda on the table with it. To the left is something new. So, by the way, that's the artwork for Jump to Light Speed, I guess. That's like the first artwork we've seen for Jump to Light Speed. This is a Carbonite Collector's Edition. So, supposedly, they're not going to be any different cards, but you're going to be able to collect alternative formats of the cards. So yay, more stuff to collect if that's what you like to do. My pocketbook does not like that.
I mean, you don't have to buy it.
But you know me, Alex.
I get it. I'm just saying.
I mean, especially if they put a mall in it. I mean, like, I guess it depends on what cards. How about this? It depends on what cards come in.
Well, presumably, it's Jump to Light Speed, right? So it wouldn't be anything from the first 3 sets. Also, it's really sick to advanced art there.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that cool?
Well, yeah, I don't Carbonite know. Edition. Yeah, well, I'm sure. It'll be cool. Something more for collectors, because, yikes. Who needs more money?
Yeah. Not me, I guess. So, I don't know. It depends on what comes in it. We'll see. I don't know. I went out of my way to buy one Palpatine collector's thing from the convention exclusives just because it looks amazing, and I play Palpatine, so, like, it was worth the money for the one, and I'm sure that card will be worth money even after it gets rotated, if that's what they do. So I'm not like super worried that card won't hold value, but I didn't see the need to spend $400 on like 6 cards, like personally. Like I was like, at this point, I don't have that much extra cash to do that with. So, but it is cool. I was a little excited that I was more excited we got to see artwork. How about that for the Jump to Light Speed set? Like that was kind of cool to see. Not that we have seen everything from Twilight yet, but I mean, I don't know. What is kind of nice is hopefully they produce enough of those that they won't be like something so rare that like you're going to have to pay, like $300-$400 to get these things. So, I mean, what are you going to do if they put a scimitar in one of them, or something like that? It's going to be like, oh, this fits in my Palpatine deck. I think I'm going to have to buy one. And then they're going to be packs. So you're going to have to literally buy like all these packs for them to get these cards. So like there could be like, my guess is I don't know. I don't know what they said because I didn't listen to any of the stuff this weekend, but like if all of those 6 don't give you everything that comes for that Carbonite edition, do you have to buy like multiple of those packs to get what you want?
Probably right.
Yeah. So all I can say is hopefully they don't kill the rest of our normal production to build those things, So, I don't know. There was some cool spoilers this week. Kind of exciting to see some of those that we had before. So I guess we talk about the meta a little bit, right? Let's go to our Chaos of War, and let's talk a little bit tonight about what the first planetary qualifiers were, as well as a few store showdowns that Alex attended. All right. Welcome back to our Chaos of War segment. This is where we talk a little bit about the PQ qualifiers, the decks, different things like that. I didn't go through and pull a bunch of decks tonight. And I didn't do that on purpose because we have like part of me wanted to, right? Logically, like it's probably good to go through some of the decks, but at the same token, we covered all these decks like 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. We talked about planetary qualifier prep, and we talked about what was going to be popular. And look, you could see based on what we said, here's what we're seeing for the most part in these decks. And so what I wanted to do is all I did is I pulled just the data, and this all comes from this. It's called SWU Competitive Hub. I don't know. I don't know how exactly where I got it from, but it showed up in one of the Discords somewhere. So that's just, they have been updating this document throughout the weekend with some of the stuff. There was some live streams, so you can actually go onto there, and they actually will connect you. If they have the live stream, they'll connect you with the live stream, so you can actually go back and watch some of the stuff. And I will tell you, like, there's a Bobby Sapphire top 8 game for Red Seal Gaming, where he plays against the Green Boba with his Sabine, and like I think that's very important to kind of watch a couple of those things, because there's like one game where if Bobby had claimed he might have been up like 1, and I'm sure the K2D guys will talk about their like all of his stuff. I don't think we have to cover that specific game, but there is some cool, interesting, different plays, and you can actually kind of watch sequencing for some of the stuff. And so if you want to check it out and see a bunch of them, that website will be linked in our description of the episode, and you can actually just go watch some of the other games for the weekend if you want to. And I remember, I don't know how popular this is. I just remember when we were playing X-Wing a lot, there was like when they had live streams, we used to watch them. So that was like a thing that we used to do for X-Wing. And you would watch it to see the ships, to see movements. Sometimes you see some crazy stuff. Or Duncan Howard doing nothing but like circling the edge of the board for an hour, and that was boring.
Good times.
Good times. That was back in the old Destiny or old X-Wing days. But anyway, long story short. So the first one that happened was in Spain. That was reported in. They had a top cut of top 8 of 6 Bobas and 1 Sabine and 1 Kira.
Christ.
And so so just nothing but Boba, I guess, at this one. The final was Yellow Boba versus Boba Green. So Boba versus Boba off, and then Boba Green won. So I don't know if that is specifically always the way it's supposed to be, but I will say that Boba Green, I think, can have the edge in it. It is. I would note that, in my opinion, these Boba Greens must not have the ECL base to it, which
I would assume not, right? Because it says Sabine ECL.
Yeah, so I'm almost 100% sure that these are like 30 health base Bobas, which we haven't seen a lot of. We did air that one where we talked about it like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think we had that on the stream, and it's a thing. But here it was a ton of it. So the next one was in Dallas, Texas. That one only had 2 Bobas this time. Only 2 Bobas made it. We had a Sabine, a Kira, a Han Blue, a Han Yellow, which that's kind of cool seeing that Han Yellow coming back a little bit. Second Sabine and a Yellow Sabine, which there you go, Alex. Like there's a little bit of it. We didn't talk about Yellow Sabine as much, did we? And then the semifinals were Sabine versus Sabine, which they deserve each other. So I'm happy. I'm happy that happened. And then you had Boba Green versus Blue Han. I'm actually a little surprised. Boba Green. I guess maybe it's that extra 5 helps you with that Han Blue. Because man, that Han Blue, if it pillages you or if it gets that crate dragon down, I don't know. Maybe you could just go to the board faster than him. Maybe that's why. But then we ended up with Boba Green versus Sabine, and guess who won? Boba Green.
Yep. I mean, that's what they are kind of designed around, right? Like pushing Sabine out. So not surprising.
Then
yes.
It's to me it's not surprising either, and I think that's I don't know, in my locals this week that's going to be probably a conversation, because it's like we have one guy that runs Boba Green and then we all run like smatterings of other things, and then it's like, well, hey man, congratulations on the weekend when you've been playing the one deck. So that's one deck specifically, and like you're gonna have, if everybody keeps bringing Sabine. And I think once we get through this, we can actually kind of talk a little bit about the meta, Alex. And I think that's kind of like the bigger thing to me. Like, I don't, whatever, like the decks I'm a little less concerned about at this point. Unless you have some really crazy secret tech you wanted to share with us.
No, not at the time, I guess.
Yeah. So then we had Red Seal Gaming in New Jersey. They had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Bobas, and one of them was a blue Boba, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to see a blue Boba hit the top tables. And then we had 2 Sabines, 1 Kira, which is Woo, and then 1 Han Yellow. which I don't know why they're telling us it's the 30 health base Han Yellow, because I think all Han Yellows are 30 health bases. Semifinals were Han Yellow versus Boba Yellow, and Boba Green versus Kira, and Boba Green took the win, and so did the Han Yellow. And guess who won this one? Oh, another Boba Green.
It's almost like it's a good deck. Almost.
Now let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. So this one, it was in Kansas City. This one had 3, 4, 5 Bobas in the top cut. 1 Han Blue, 2 Han Blues. No, 1 Han Blue and 1 Han Green, and then a Sabine Green. And the finals were Boba Green versus Han Blue, and Boba Green won again.
Yeah. Exhilarating.
Now let's move on to Colorado. In Colorado, this one was actually more diverse. This one feels a little bit better, at least, because there's not a million Bobas in there. So either nobody ran Boba that day, or the Bobas got eked out somehow. But we had a Han 2, an Iden Blue, which that's kind of neat to see. Iden Blue. I didn't think Iden Blue was going to show up again, but that one did. Then we had another Han, a Ray Tarkentown, 1 Sabine Green, a Han Green, a Han 2 Green, I should say, and then 2 Kira 30 health bases. In the finals, we had a Kira versus Sabine, and then Kira took that Sabine down, and then we had an Iden versus a Ray, and Kira ended up going off against the Iden, and I think that's pretty an easy winner if you can't get your Relentlesses down, which I don't know how many they ran, but he ain't going to run Relentless. You're probably going to lose that matchup versus Iden. She's going to heal and mill you super fast. So,
yeah.
Could you imagine playing like 10 rounds and then your last round you have to sit down and you're facing off against an Iden Blue deck? Do you just like concede or go, oh my God, I've just like all day long, this has been horrible. Now I got to play this deck of all decks?
That'd be fun.
Not in the last game, it wouldn't be.
I like silly stuff like that. Just grind it out for the final victory. Yeah.
Nah. The last one that we have is from Calgary. Their top 8 was a Han 1 Green, which is neat to see. Boba Yellow, 2 TBDs, which I don't know who they are. I'm guessing they're probably Bobas. Then a Bosk ECL. So a Boss Green sneaking up in there. A Ray Blue, a
Nice.
Gar Yellow, and a Sabine ECL. So this one's a little bit more diverse. We had Bosk ECL versus Han 1 Green. Han takes the win for that. Then we had a Ray Blue versus a Boba Yellow. So mano on mano. And Boba ekes out the win for that one. And then we had the Han versus the Boba, and Han 1 Green took the day. So, which is also really cool to see, because we haven't seen a lot of that Han 1 Green around. I like seeing it when I play Pelp, just because, give me your home 1, baby.
Right.
I'll hold Pelp to you till you give me a Han or give me a home 1. Anyway, sorry, too much Pelp talk. So that was kind of the weekend here, right? And we're not, well, before we get into Alex's stuff, let's talk a little bit about this, right? So I don't think that we completely saw that Boba Green was going to be like the breathtaking thing. I will also say that, it's nice to see Sabine get knocked off her pedestal a little bit, but does it really gotta only be Boba? Are we really just back to set 1 meta where we just have Boba, the Boba Yellow, Boba Green, and Sabine ECL? Like, is that all we're gonna have?
I mean, they did get a lot better. I told you, man. Like, I love that green version of Boba a lot more, because you actually have like some end game units, and that kind of solves a lot of the problems that the like set 1 and Boba, mono yellow Boba have, where like their end game is not like the strongest. So like when you drop reinforcement walkers and mauls, presumably, it's a deck that's hard to go against.
Yeah. So I think, when we look through this, right? Like, so we could talk about what counters what, and so like Sabine is being countered by Boba, obviously. So does that mean a lot of the other mid-range decks are able to take on Sabine? Like, is that something that like we can count on? Because we're seeing Hans, but we aren't seeing. I'm not seeing the Hans getting pitted against the Sabines, right? So I don't know if it's just a luck of the pairing. But does Han 2 even stand a chance against Sabine, or is Sabine just that much faster
Oh
that?
man, I think it kind of just depends on if like the blue red Han, they get like pillages maybe that can slow a Sabine deck, help stabilize, and then just getting your like Yodas and your Kanans and the Concord Dawn interceptors just to slow Sabine down as much as you can and try to restore before you can stabilize and drop things like Obi-Wans and Luke's. But man, ECL Sabine's it's fast. It's hard. Like it's a pain to go against.
Yeah, and I
So
think.
that's the only one I could think other mid range deck. Mono Yellow Han's not so bad into it.
Mhm.
It's awkward, but yeah, it's mostly just like the Pulvas that I can see taking it down. There's been a little bit of a renewed push for like Ray, like the Mono Blue Ray, like we saw in Canada over there in Edmonton. Um, just because that's just a lot of restore, a lot of Sentinel, a lot of just kind of dig in and go to the Winchester and wait for it all to blow over, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think you're correct. I will. I guess Kira is not technically a mid range deck. Really, Kira is more like that soft control. Um, I have seen a lot of success with Kira into Sabines as well
Really.
because yeah, against Sabine, yeah, if they can super out tempo you where you're playing a unit and they're like doing something crazy around it and can work around your plays, but being able to like I could Sabine one you play an A Wing, I'm just gonna claim. I'll just claim and play Power of the Dark Side or something crazy like that. And so there's ways around it. You carry takedowns for when Sabine flips. You play an actual like a control game against Sabine a little bit, kind of like what we do with Pelps, right? Like your goal with Pelp is to just eliminate as many of their units as you can and not let them go to base super fast. And when you can stop them and slow that down a little bit, you have a little bit less of an issue. Like if they can't fleet lieutenant turn two, like that's usually that really makes that Sabine game thing. And then you don't give them units to play against Wrecker because Sabine, once you hit those 6 resources, you can start going into the air and you can start stopping them with sentinels and different things where if they haven't used their ECL, then they can. But if they, a lot of times they're going to have to use that ECL to get rid of a Chelsind or something else crazy like that. Sabine Yellow is different though, right? We don't see Sabine Yellow very often. So, um,
I'm not terribly enthused by Sabine Yellow, honestly.
yeah, I will say like my win rate as a Kira player against Sabine is like 65% typically, sometimes almost
Okay.
70, depending. And again, it depends on their build. And then, in best of three, I don't usually worry. In best of one, it can be a little bit more niche with it. But especially if you're running a 30 health base, like I can't ECL something out against you, but I can also not have to worry about certain things, and you just have to avoid letting them be able to play that wrecker combo. That's the thing. That's when they can be able to play that wrecker combo like that. You don't have an answer for it. But
Okay, fair enough.
if I drop a 6/6 Shelson though, go ahead and play your wrecker. You want to ECL? I'll do 5 damage to it. I mean, you're now then having to go into it with your wrecker, and your wrecker is going to be dead. I mean, you still get the 6 damage to base, but you're no longer getting as much as what you were able to get, and then you don't have a wrecker around. So, but other than that, like again, that's more of the self control. Like what's like? Do you think that we're going to see a kind of a downturn in Sabine? Like, how about this? If Boba's going to be present, should we be seeing a downturn in Sabine?
I would assume so. Right. It's going to be hard to dodge your matchups if you're bad into Boba when 6 of the top 8 is Boba. So, uh, theoretically, it would push out Sabine. Although I still think they have like not an auto loss against a Boba.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like, I don't think Boba has to be an auto loss for Sabine. Like, is there a tech that Sabine can throw in there to kind of counter some of that Boba stuff, do you think? I think one of the big things, right, is when Boba gets armor, it becomes very hard for Sabine to stick around. Like,
Yeah,
that's the problem.
but like if you manage to stick a Sabine with a dark saber, that's still tough for Boba to handle, right? Like you just have to
Yeah.
like try to know good to me dead and worry about it later.
Yeah. And Boba Green doesn't
Maybe it's not the option to go against that, but like still, it's just like random stuff. Like if you have a like Boba Yellow doesn't necessarily run a lot of space units, so if they drew a lot of space units, that's a uphill battle for Boba. And like
yeah.
that's kind of the nice thing about Sabine is like, you can put a lot of space pressure if you need it.
So do you think maybe one of the lines for the Sabine is to say, hey, maybe we should sideboard in a few extra space units just for the Boba matchup? Because you could put those disabled Fang fighters in there. I know it hurts you for a cause, but man, I'll tell you what, as a Sabine player, being able to either ECL that out to kill like a space unit, like like to put 3 damage into a fire spray, like that seems pretty good. Plus kill Boba's armor. I don't know. I like that play. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm not sure. I haven't really done a lot of Sabine sideboarding theory
yeah,
crafting. I don't
sure.
really play Sabine much, so it's fun.
So let's talk a little bit then. So if Sabine becomes less of a thing, then the question is do other aggro decks have like a chance? Because like I think Kylo, I think Kylo's like decently good into Sabine. Like Kylo can go to the board a little bit harder than Sabine does. Sabine actually has to play controlish
Yeah,
against
Sabine
it.
can't outrun the Kylo decks, but Sabine can control the Kylo decks.
Yeah. Um.
Then when you drop Poes and Wreckers, there's no hope for the Kylo deck.
Yeah, it's just done and over with. And that's kind of the same thing with Lando. We saw a little bit of Lando show up earlier. We're not seeing Lando show up now. Is Lando even a good option if Sabines are becoming, or is Boba just going to be so much more dominant even over that Lando type deck?
I think Poes still just crush the Lando decks, honestly. Like Sabine just has extra tools that allow her to like kind of circumvent it. Like if you have the Adelphi wings in there, right? Like that's just a pain for Boba to deal with. He's not running Space Sentinels, and that's just 4 damage every time.
Yeah.
And the 4/6 body for Vibe is nasty. And
Yeah.
like, Poe has built-in upgrade removal. Like you can ECL out a Poe, dump 2 cards, knock the Boba Fett's armor, do 2 damage to Boba Fett, and kill him. Same
Yep.
turn he comes out. So like you have tools in like Sabine that you're able to do stuff against a Boba like that. You don't presumably. I haven't really messed around too much with Lando. I don't think you have those tools. Like you're not
No,
ECLing out a Poe because you'd be yellow green at that point, right?
no, you're definitely not. You're not actually running Poe in your Lando. You should be
Right,
running
right.
Poe in your Lando deck anyway. But Lando can do like put out a lot of. It's the same way as a Kylo. It can put out a lot of damage on an earlier churns that Boba will have a harder time coming back from, because by the time Boba wants to heal, it's going to be when Boba hits that 6 resource or the 8 resources to get that walker down if they're running walkers. Okay, so maybe some of those other aggro decks are still going to be pushed out by Boba. Maybe Boba just has the ability to push out enough of the aggro meta that you don't want to run that. So if you don't want to run Boba, then what are we running against? What are we going to run to counter Boba? Like what is open to fair game to say, hey, maybe Boba shouldn't just be the king of the hill. Why don't what can we play that might counter that? And don't say Palpatine. We can save that for last. That's the final discussion.
I mean, I think that's the easy answer, but also, control, right? Like heavy endgame stuff. I'm sure like ECL Kira is that, I'm sure that doesn't do super bad into Boba, right? Like that doesn't seem like that's a losing. Seems more like a 50-50.
To me, to the games that I've played, it has been. I mean, and that's kind of what we saw a little bit. We saw with the Boba versus the Kira ECL when Wu played it at Red Seal Gaming. So that game's on stream. You can actually watch all 3 rounds of that, or all 3 games. Sorry, not rounds. All 3 games of that. Um, and I think I think some of that is not as much play. I do think that the Boba's armor is a tough spot, but I also think Kira has tools that can still make Boba go. If you could control Boba's board and he flips and there's nothing else in there, I mean, like you can put damage out. You could flip Kira into an overwhelming barrage. You could flip Kira into a takedown. Like because if you leave Boba on the board and you don't take care of Kira, now I'm just being able to swing into you. Or if I have overwhelming barrage, that's three more damage into your Boba. So now he's at 7. He only needs 2 more damage left. So then Boba has to swing into kill Kira, or like, so if you can control it correctly, I think Kira is favored in that personally, but you have to be able to like, if they get that armor down, you don't have an answer. You're kind of out of luck. So
Favored into yellow or green or both?
Green.
Okay.
Yellow's harder, but you can ramp into the yellow easier. You have enough removal, I think, with Kira for yellow Boba that I don't think yellow Boba's all that scary. The bigger issue is the stupid not the syndicate lackeys. What's the one that bounces? The 5 cost unit that
Cantina
bounces.
bouncers.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go. The Cantina bouncers are not super fun because if you have like a buffed up Chilson or like a buffed up Gideon, right? Gideon's a big one, or a Forlom. Having that bounce to your hand is not super fun. I don't actually care if you bounce my Pike Sentinel in my hand. I'm just gonna play it again. So I can 90% of the time afford to play that a second time. So I think the yellow Boba might have a little bit different of an edge into Kira. Because they do have that stupid Cunnings, but their decks rely very heavily on Cunnings and then the fire spray at the end. And I mean, you run Fel the Dragon, you can take care of that fire spray for 4. So yeah. Like if we hit 6 resources and you haven't spent very much of them, I'm not spending my resources. I'm keeping my Fel the Dragon for your stupid fire spray.
Yeah, and like top targets make a pretty huge swing too, right? Because they have lower cost unique units like Greedo, Bodhi if you're doing the mono yellow. If they're doing green, I mean, like, the Forlom, Zuckuss, all that kind of stuff. So they have a lot of uniques. So like the 6 health is nothing to scoff at. You can get to the end game, try to beat them out with, like an Avenger or a Devastator or whatever.
Yep, Snoke's that deck does not like Snoke very well. Right, I will tell you that. So if you can get with Kira to the Snoke churn, these Boba decks are not super happy unless they're running again a lot of top end like Devastators or something. So
yeah, which I haven't seen a Boba deck that would run a Devastator.
I have. They played it against me.
Awesome.
Well, you were there. You were at the damn tournament. They did that because I played Red Pelp.
Oh, well,
that was why. Fair. Remember?
Good times. Good times.
They were countering my Red Pelp with that. Traditionally, they don't. We have not seen it. Traditionally, it's the Vader. Like it's a Vader Maul package. Vader Maul, and maybe Walkers.
My Kira local plays Devastators because of me.
Yep.
I stole his Snoke and then he dropped the Devastator to kill it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I'm gonna run my Raider into you and open fire, so I take care of it in three resources. But like, that was cool. That's fun.
Yep. Yeah, and it's there. So if you're teching against Boba, so Kira, so you're saying we feel Kira has a good play into Boba's
or something like that, like an end game kind of heal like that Bosk blue. That just heals a lot. So if they're unable to deal with the Bosk blue end game or vigilance, right? Like you just mill them out. I think that's what happened over on Saturday at Eternal Warren. Just one of my locals, Dave, was running the blue Bosk, and it's just like just heal. He was up to like 28 damage, and then he was down to 0.
Yeah.
So like that, if you have like extreme healing and are able to continuously do that, like with the Bosk, it can work. Not maybe even Ray, like blue Ray vigilance, right? Like mill them out and try to heal as much, outlast them, see what you can do.
Yeah. And if we look down here, the Ray blue lost to a Boba yellow, not a Boba green, right? And so I think that's kind of the same thing. Like I think you're right. I think Ray has a good play. I don't know why people are running the shield, the 25 health base with Ray though. I don't. I've played a couple of those. Yeah, I played some of those on online, and like I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't
I
even.
guess you have enough restore, right? And you have enough sentinels that maybe you want the shield on there. Sure, I guess.
I mean, you know
That's
what
kind of wonky.
they played a they played their one of their sentinels, the stupid village people or whatever,
Yep.
the village protectorates, and so then I ECL'd in my sentinel into it to clear its shield, and then they used their stupid base to give it another shield. So then I was like, all right.
Awesome.
So I claimed and then just played make an opening the next turn. I was like, all right, forget this. I'm done playing games with you. I was trying to be nice, but no, I should have just played make an opening to begin with. Like, that's what I should have just played.
One of my the X-wing locals actually, Glenn. He was running a Ray deck. It was a red Ray deck, but he's just like, yeah, man. I just throw out the village protectors. I give him the experience with Ray, and I just slap entrenched on him and just be like, have fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't particularly need these things to attack with Ray. It's more of an outlast kind of thing. And you just have a 6/6 shielded sentinel. Ugh.
Yep. Yep, and he's correct. I mean, they do, and when Ray flips, if you can't take care of Ray right away, she can start boosting things, and she's just like her being able to heal 3 is so dirty. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like god damn it, like usually we get that out of like a Luke, right? Now I'm getting it out of her, and then the next turn typically she can play Luke, so which is super fun.
Yeah, so like I know theoretically if you have enough healing restore, you might be able to outlast the Bulbas and like mill them. But that's like kind of a weird strategy. Just
Yeah.
like hard control late game decks. I mean that's like the cycle, right? Aggro shows up and then you have the mid range deck push the aggro out, and the control decks show up to push the mid range out, and then the aggro decks come in to beat out the control decks.
Yeah. And so that's the question. And that leads us to like the last discussion of we know hard control can work, right? And we saw there's an item blue right here on the screen that did very well, obviously. A little bit smaller of a tournament, but still they did very well and they won that tournament. So the question then becomes is this Pelp's time to shine? Right? Like is it like because Pelp can prey on soft control. Pelp doesn't always win soft control. Let's just be honest. And certain Pelps are better into soft control than other ones are. Um, and that's like we haven't seen Red Pelp make this big, like some super big splash, and people have kind of frowned upon us more than one time. Like I've been
I
frowned
think
upon for running Red
I
Pelp.
think one red Pelp made like top 8 or top 16 at a big tournament out in Europe. Just randomly, just someone was running a red Palpatine and like definitely top 16, might have been top 8, and just out of nowhere kind of thing. But yeah, like no, yeah, red Palpatine is kind of wonky. I think more people are obsessed with like, oh, it's Palpatine, so I have to ramp big and then win in the end game. And red Palpatine is more like, no, you just try to just you can play on curve, just hit them with a lot of damage out of hand, or these units, and just kind of go from there.
Well, that's the big question, right? Like if we're going to see Bulbas pushing out Sabines, right? Do we feel next weekend? And we have 3 weekends of planetary qualifiers at least that I know of. Are we going to see enough Sabines disappear that Pelp's worth running? Or let's say soft control, hard control. Or is Sabine still big enough threat that there's not really again, if you're running any Pelp but red, most of the time you're having a hard time into Sabine. And even with Pelp red, you have a hard time into Sabine sometimes too. Alex.
Oh yeah, no, like, yeah, that's if the Sabine player doesn't know what they're doing, I'll win. But if they know what they're doing, I don't think I can beat that deck.
Yeah. And so that's the question is if we're going to see Sabine, if Boba's going to be more prominent, is the call just to run Boba then? Or is the call to should people be because if the call is people should be running Boba, then should we be running Pelp?
It's weird. So like Sabine's a really decent budget deck, and more likely that your locals have it and have been playing it since set one and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like Sabine will still show up more than Boba's. Yeah, the tournaments I was at, there's a noticeable lack of Boba's. Well, not, compared to like Sabine, right? So you have a lot more Sabines than you do Bobas. So like it's still kind of a tough call for your locals to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna bring Palpatine because I think he's a good enough counter to Boba, and I expect a whole bunch of Bobas to show up. I think there's one at the tournament last week.
Hmm.
So uh you know, it's it's tough to call. Like if you think if your locals are like really competitive players that care a lot about the results of tournaments, maybe they'll all jump the ship to Boba, and that might be better for you to do that. If you're not experienced with playing Boba, you're just going to get destroyed by other Boba players and possibly other people, and like Sabine that you're supposed to like hard counter, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if you can make like a decent call what to bring. I don't know. Like if you were going to a tournament, what's yours? What do you think you're going to bring? Lean more towards like a Palpatine? I mean, other than like our bias of playing it a lot.
Well, my bias of playing it a lot makes it easier for me to want to take Red Pelt because I can pick that up and play. I mean, okay, I played Red Pelt the last 2 weeks at locals, at least 2 games, and I've been playing it online. Um, again, my problem is that it's just to Sabine's become losses, and they're I can win them, but not very often. Like I have a very lower win rate, like 30%. And if they hit if they hit good lines and I don't get the exact removal I need, it's done and over. And Darksaber Sabine is not a
Yeah.
fun Sabine to play against because I don't
Yeah.
like I have to have a force choke to kill her. Otherwise, I just it's you lose. So
Right. Yeah.
so like my problem is like if we feel that Bulba's going to push the Sabines down in the meta, I feel Palp's a safe bet to run. And I feel a lot more after seeing these results. If people are going to swing towards running Bulba, I feel a million times more comfortable playing Palpatine because if
Yeah.
you're going to run Bulbas, at least I have a fair chance now. I mean, I don't always have the best matchup against either of you, but I have a really good chance, especially with red. You know, green Palp against green Boba and yellow Boba is that's not the same. Like you still should win that matchup, but it's definitely a lot harder to do with green Palpatine because you don't have the same removal suite you have with red Palp.
Yeah.
So you
Green
can,
Palpatine is literally I need to ramp in
yeah,
order to win with red and like blue especially. Like it's just I can just control until we hit late game. Same with red, same with yellow. Just green, I feel like relies a little bit too much on the ramp.
yeah, it's ramp and healing.
Once more green guards come out, though, I'm sure that might actually change away from like big ramp to maybe how we're playing it now. Or ours might change to big ramp. Well, we'll see. But
Yeah. So if not, I'm running Kira. Like so, I'm basically committed to either running Kira or Palp. That those are the two. For me personally, those are my two options for next weekend. And if it's going to be Palp, it's going to be red Palp. Like I'm not even. I don't think I'm even going to. I unsleeved my green Palp and just said forget this. I'm just going to run red Palp and call it a day. Um. Though I do think there might be a few changes I would need to make. Um. I just don't know what to deal with if we have Sabines, and that's my bigger issue. You know, the problem is right. Like, what is my local meta? West side of the state dictates aggro. East side of the state is like control. So like,
no,
I
my
have
local meta is control. The other places like Warren and stuff, that's more
aggro.
normal,
Okay.
typical stuff. Yeah.
You know, it's like that's the problem. Is like Kira does a shitload better into Sabine than Palp does, and it's easier to deal with. So that's my hot take. Kira or Pelp, I guess, right? And I'm the odd guy that wants to run Pelp Red at a planetary qualifier I paid a bunch of money for, plus a hotel room the night before. So yeah. So I'm back on the Pelp train. I was off the Pelp train and I was actually just gonna run Kira. And now if Boba wants to become prominent, I'm pretty considering running Pelp. So
I did play a mono Boba today with my red Palpatine, and it was just like didn't draw any of my late game cards and they had Boba's armor, and I had to just grind it out the hard way with a bunch of 3 attack units and an open fire and stuff. So it was like not ideal, but you'll grind out a game against them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the end of the world because you can use your removal and look for ramp instead of and not worry as much about their. And if they bounce a Ruthless Raider, I mean,
Great.
I'll just play it again. Thank you. I'll play it again and I'll probably pelp it after that because I like to pelp my Ruthless Raiders because it's a dick move. Oh, you gave me the challenge too. I guess this is side tangent.
Yeah.
You
Pull
gave
off
me
the Alex.
yeah, you gave me the challenge. All right, so hold on. So that is it for our Chaos of War. We're going to talk a little bit about Alex's runs a little bit here, not a lot, but we'll talk that is the official cutoff of our Chaos of War. This is now for fun. This next 15 minutes is just Alex and Tanner having fun. Alex has been running Red Pelp. He's the one that got me into the whole Red Pelp thing, right? And so like everything, like I ran a different Red Pelp deck than he did, but for the most part, it was let's just say 42 to 43 cards the same last set. And then this set, I didn't even bother to build one that much different. I just took Alex's and just played it. I don't think I even tweaked yours outside of I think I might have main decked one Crate Dragon, just as a 50-second card. But we're running a special card that nobody likes to run called Discerning Veteran. And Alex gave me a challenge and said, you know what? If you could pull the Alex special off, there you go. And that's you Discerning Veteran, steal one of their units, help your Discerning Veteran, deal the damage back to their unit, and then steal it.
Yeah, so like the way it works, right? Discerning Veteran, mostly just regulated to limited. It is a 3/4 for 5, which is terrible. But basically, when you play it, you can capture any ground unit. There's no restrictions like Relentless Pursuit has to be cost or less. And like Legal Authority is like powerless, right? So this is just this guy captures one of their ground units. And that has bailed me out on so many games. Like people just dropping a wrecker. I'm like, cool, I'm just gonna steal this. I'm gonna just tuck them under this card for a little bit. I probably have a Sentinel up somewhere at some point. Or like that was their big drop and they don't have a board because you're Red Palpatine, that's your kind of objective, so they probably don't have anything that can kill it immediately. But yes, what you can do is capture your opponent's card, which is fine. But the unique thing with Palpatine is that you can kill the Discerning Veteran with Palpatine's ability, and that immediately releases the captured unit, right? Comes back into play. Then you hit it with your Palpatine ping because like nested actions or whatever. And then next action, you can bring up Palpatine and steal the unit permanently now that you just captured. So it allows you to steal units if you have 0 board and 0 out of hand damage cards, right? It actually happened in the tournament at Excel. I was playing against a guy named Cole who also ran Red Palpatine in set 1. It was the 3 of us basically. So he was playing Red Blue Han, and he played a Luke, killed whatever I had on the board, and then I'm like, cool, I guess I'm not good, but I need to do something. I'm kind of backpedaling here, so I played the Discerning Veteran and then just did the thing and then stole it. But the thing I didn't tell you, Tanner, the real nasty thing about this too, is if you're going against Palp Mirrors, if they take one of your ground units with Palpatine, you Discerning Veteran it,
It's yours.
It goes back to back to the owners. So like they're not going to kill your Discerning Veteran to give you back your free now fully healed unit that they stole from you. So you can actually like run him into something for 3 damage or palp him himself and then get your unit back after there. So it's actually like also a attack against other Palpatines.
So I actually did that. I did that against a green Palp.
Yep.
And the guy was not very happy with me because I dropped my Red Palpatine, killed his ground. He pinged. He had like 1 unit left over. He pinged it, picked up that unit, stole it, and then thought that I would just flip my Palpatine to steal it back. And I had a Discerning Veteran in hand, so I literally I claimed the round, which I don't think he understood. He did his 4 damage to my base. Next round, I just dropped the Discerning Veteran, stole the unit back, and immediately just killed the Discerning Veteran to get my Palpatine back. and just had another Palpatine there. And then, oh, by the way, I could drop. I didn't even have to bring my Palp out. And the guy was like, oh. And I was like, yep, now go ahead. Play your Devastator, baby. Play that Devastator. Let me get that damn card. Let me take whatever you're gonna get. So then he couldn't play anything else big for the literally like he the only other big thing they played was a Vader. And then after that, it was just over after that. Because like all I had to do is play units. It's like, yeah, now you have to kill my units. And the minute you play something big, it's mine. Period. No questions asked.
You already brought out your Palpatine, and that means I can drop my bombs, but I didn't bring out my Palpatine, so you can't drop your bombs. I mean, you can. You're just gonna lose after I steal it.
Yep. And I did. I did get that off. Actually, I didn't know that was another thing of yours. I just thought that was a cool play to be like, well, I wonder what this does online, and that's what it does. But the unit I stole was a Kylo. There you go. So they had a Kylo that they played, and I discerning veteran it, and then they like did an open fire or something and killed the discerning veteran, and then I went ahead and played a second discerning veteran because I had two of them in my hand. It stole it back a second time, and then you got the little frowny face emoji, and then I pelped it, put it back on his side of the table, and then I just immediately flipped. It just took it, and I was like, "Here you go, thank you. I'll just take this now, and it's just mine."
It is a random off the wall niche case for this card, but it happens just to work really well in Palpatine, and I love it.
So
yeah, it's fun. Like I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Because sometimes when I was playing my red Palpatine, I had a little bit of issues with like decks that Voltron really fast, right? Or something where I'm like, well, I'm at like 5 resources. I'm too far away for Palpatine to like take this unit, or play Mando's armor. Now it's shielded, and like it's hard to do anything into it. But you just play the discerning veteran, you just lop all that off and just take their stuff. Or like a Childson, right? Like that happens a lot too. They drop a 5/5 or 6/6 Childson. You're just like, well, discerning veteran in it, and when it comes back, it's a 2/2 Sentinel.
yep.
So
which is kind of like the bamboozle. Like people play that bamboozle in Han Yellow, and it makes sense. It's like a really good card in Hero Yellow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of just like that was the solution I was trying to go for, was like heavy Voltron stuff, nothing crazy. Just try to have some sort of option, because I'm trying to make it like a toolboxy deck. And then after that, I'm just like, yeah, you know what technically works? Stealing it and then stealing it. Capturing and then actually stealing it. So it's a little spicy tech I had.
So I have
the showdown.
Yeah, so this is the deck that I've had it on screen. This is the deck that we've been talking about. And so here, let me show you the picture. There's Alex. There's Alex in the corner there.
Yeah,
see him behind. I don't know who the guy that's got Luke something. I don't know what's on his shirt. So Lane, maybe Lake.
Yeah. That was actually the first round. That was a red Vader. And we were going over that deck actually, just because I got there a little bit early. So, and he was just like, assembling it, and I'm just like, oh hey, love me some green Vaders. I would recommend probably putting in some more late game cards, because he had a lot of ramp, but he didn't have a lot of late game cards. And I'm like, hey, so like you're ramping, which is great, but you're ramping to nothing, man. It's like it's more like aggro-y, which I can respect, but like also if they get past the late game, you got to do something. So that's kind of what happened, is just he doesn't have an end game in that deck. So I did play it. I did beat him in that round.
So which one is Staniszewski? Is he the one in the red? Or is he the one sitting up front here?
No, he's the one in the red.
Okay.
He was playing his Sabine ECL. His first round opponent actually that's a red Ray Tarkentown deck. Which is cool. Yeah, we had like a marginally diverse pack over there.
And which one's Matt? Funny. Matt was there too, right?
Yeah, Matt's in the back right-hand corner. That's him playing the tournament organizer, Luke. Matt's also running Green Vader. So yeah, it was fun. Like my first round was Green Vader. Normally a tough matchup, but again, he didn't have late game stuff, so was able to pull that out. Second one, Okay, so it's my local Tim. He runs uh, ECL Kira. Right, that's his jam. He's the one with the Devastator in it because of me.
Hmm.
Apparently, his kid is just like, "Hey, Dad, I hope you win the whole tournament." And he's like, "Me too, son. But I know Alex is going to be there, and I know I'm going to lose to him, and only him, and I'm going to be upset." And then Tim actually did go 3-1. But his only loss was to me in the second round. So he called it for what it's worth. But yeah, he had just the blue Kira, or sorry, green Kira, and I managed to just outlast that. It's Palpatine. My third round was against Cole. He had a red blue Han. Uh, First game, I thought I was doing pretty well, and then like just didn't draw any late game cards, so he just came back and took it. Second game was the most grindy game I've ever had against a Han. It was like I'm dropping a Devastator, and then I have to like double overwhelming barrage it to actually do anything because he like looped it. So my double overwhelming barrage Devastator swung in for 8. Yeah, which was really sad. But like we grinded that out, but then it came down to like a minute left in the round, and we're just like, well, TO look away, we're gonna roll. And then we tied in the roll and then tied again. And then I managed to just win the roll off because I just have a great skill at rolling dice, obviously. Clearly. That's if you know me from
Only in
X-Wing.
this game. Yeah,
Yeah, if you
not
know
in
me from
X-Wing.
X-Wing, I roll dice well. No, I just happen to win off the die roll. So would have been a really interesting third game. I still feel like I would win the third game just because I put in like the Great Dragons and the Relentlesses and stuff, so I actually have a stronger end game. And the last one was against my buddy of I don't know 26 years at this point, I think. Sandeep, he was also the other 3-0. He was running ECL Sabine. We practiced a little bit beforehand, and then he just swept me. First game, when you pull your double Devastators and triple Palpatines in your first 4 resources, things go pretty rough from there against a Sabine. But the second game, when I sideboarded all that out, it wasn't even close either. And then there was no cut because there was 14 of us. And frustratingly, Sandeep played Staniszewski the round before. Staniszewski took 1 game off of him. So Stanny got second and I got third. He took a game off of Sandeep, so his strength schedule was slightly higher than mine, which was frustrating. Like, I love Ryan and everything, but man, you just have to do that in another game to me.
Yeah, we had that in the X-Wing. So
Yeah. So that was a really fun tournament. I like Excel. That's like that's where I did the sealed league and everything. Great place. And I just brought the Red Palpatine. Just I'm like, yeah, it's fun. Why not? I love Red Palp. I'll play it first.
yeah. Well, I think it's interesting, and I think like when I've been playing, I think one of the things that I do miss a little bit is like I don't know, I miss my 1-drop TIE fighter that I could ping and get a card, but most of the time that 2-drop TIE fighter, like, so because this is the changes. I haven't done this yet, but this is the changes. Like I feel like adding in and maybe it's the timelies that come out, and adding in 2 of those ambush green units are very beneficial. What are they called?
The escort skiffs.
Yeah,
Okay.
for when you play against green Sabine and stuff like that, like against aggro, I like those. The other thing I really miss that I've been playing a little bit in Kira is I've been playing the mercenary gunship only as a like round 1 or round 2 to be able to counter some of the early Sabine matchup, because they can't afford to steal it. They just like, if Sabine steals your mercenary gunship, whatever. Like, ooh, thank you. You're not gonna play something cool today. All right. So I found that like against an A-wing or something like that, it's really, really good.
Instead of the mercenary gunships, you just run Kylo silencers, right? Because they don't have the possibility of taking it over, and it's still the same stat line.
Yep, and
I guess if it gets pillaged, you can play it.
And that was the other discussion. Like, could you replace the the green ties, because the only thing the green tie gives you though is the healing, right? You get the healing with you.
The Ularen triggers,
Yeah.
like you have to have sort of a critical mass of green units in there, and that was one of the decisions why I went with that over the original TIE Fighter. And also, like, you could still give the experience to the Royal Guards, which is actually really funny.
Yep, you could give it to the Royal Guards or to your, like, I've done it to scanning officer a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll play scanning officer round 1 if I know they got smuggle. Like, people don't think about that. Like, I told people this was a stupid card that people should, if people are gonna run Cassian, you know how many times they don't resource Cassian anymore and they just play Cassian outright when you play against Sabine because of that card. If they know I'm running that card.
Yeah.
And I mean, I beat Lando with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just run my scanning officer down turn 1 and 2, see ya. Like,
And if
you
they ever
don't get
bring
to play.
tech out, they
Oh,
all
it's
have
so
smuggle.
good. Mhm.
Yeah, no, I've actually done a lot of like, oh, I'm gonna just bump my scanning officer or like Ularen up to a 3/4 and just take out whatever they drop the first turn.
Yeah.
Play
So
that and then kill their battlefield marine or something.
so I do wonder if maybe the timelies come out, you just put the Kylo silencers in there, and you probably don't need 3 of them, you probably 2 of them are fine. It gives you a couple more 2 drops.
Yeah, it might take out the timelies and actually slot in the crates or the relentless, just for a little bit more endgame oomph. But that's just because I like the timelies. I've been using them occasionally. It's just at a certain point, I'm just like, are they worth having in my deck? Is it worth like timelying out phase 3 to just kill something and then get the experience? And now it's a Sentinel as 4. Is it worth timelying out my like you don't want to timely out a super laser tech because you could just Palpatine it and draw a card and do 1 damage, right? So like normally with ECL, one of your options is a super laser tech, but I just don't. I mean, you can like if you really need to kill something with 2 health, but generally it's just like I just play Palpatine and then palp the super laser tech.
Yeah, I don't typically ECL that out. I've almost never, not in this deck, sorry. I've
Yeah.
not done that. In other decks I have, but
I definitely have and had a lot of fun timelying Palpatine unit out. But that's just more like win more than it is like an actual good strategy in this deck.
see, I don't think that happens. Like, it's
I've
fun.
done it like 4 times now. It's great. You're just
I've
like
I've used it
spread.
to win games.
Yeah.
Because you know what you can do with them, right? Like, you can
Drop them down to
you
1 health and hit them with the overwhelm.
yeah, and then you don't have to use the rest. I had somebody ask me, "Well, what do you happens to all the other damage?" And I was like, "I could just deny assigning the damage to anything." Well, no, you have to assign it to Palpatine. No, I do not have to assign it to Palpatine. I'm just going to not assign it to anything.
You can't assign it to Palpatine. Palpatine is enemy units.
Yeah, true. That's even crazier.
Yeah. So like
But
normally
you
it's
could
like
just not assign it, right? Like,
yeah,
it
you
doesn't even
can.
have to be assigned.
So you can like if they have like 3 health left and you want to do 2 damage, you assign 2 damage to that unit, and then the rest of the stuff you have nothing else to assign it for. But also like you can overkill a unit, right? If like one unit has like 1 health and the one you want to go has like 2, you could just do 1 to the unit you want to kill and then 5 more to the one that's just an overkill it.
Yeah. Because typically when I use it, it's because they have like 3 to 5 damage left. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
using that timely Palpatine for. And that's it. Like, I have used timely once with a Devastator too. That's
too.
super dirty.
It's really funny.
Like, is that's not expected at all.
I have used it once with the Crate Dragon as well, and that's just like, wow, okay.
I mean,
but not.
and like if I get timely, I'm typically just resourcing it. Like, unless I need it for something, I always it's just a resource. It just sits in the resource pile, which did suck because somebody played a scanning officer against me and then got my damn timely. I was like, oh, of all the cards, like, oh, come on.
I think I'm going to side those out probably for the Crate Dragons and then make up some more space in my side deck for something else that I could figure.
Yeah, I still think
Bloodsport eventually.
I still think that the Kylo Silencer is a decent play to have in there, especially if pillage decks are going to still be a thing, right? Because you could, like, I played against a Boss Blue, and I never like when you have the Palpatine's returns, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because I can have Palpatine's returns. I just slide those in. Oh no, there goes my Vader. Oops. Oh, I'm gonna play Vader, in a turn or two. So I don't care. But that's the thing is like technically speaking, if you had to discard a card, you can discard a Kylo Silencer. You just get to play. If you have the resources, you just play it out of your discard pile. Like it works like that. So.
I actually don't think the Kylo silencers were in there because I was also building my Kylo deck at the same time, and I just used it in there and just been like, I mean, more Yularen targets isn't bad.
No, and
those are definitely just going to be replaced by those like Sun Sail shifts, right? That's coming out in the next set.
Oh yeah,
the Confederate Couriers.
Mm-hmm,
So
yeah, well, there's so many new cards coming out that is going to make this deck better. So
yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I think that's all we're going to talk about tonight. I think we've definitely hit our 2-hour mark today.
Yeah.
So, and no JJ today, so it's hilarious. We still talked for 2 hours. I went through 2 cans of soda and a bottle of water. So I really, really must have been parched today. So all that outdoor sun stuff, I guess. But either which way, hopefully next weekend we'll have tournament. We will definitely be talking next week about my tournament. So, because we are gonna go. I have 5 days, 5-6 days till I go, and gotta pick a deck. Gotta pick a deck early, so I don't pick one the night before like I do with X-Wing sometimes. So
sometimes I do that all the time with X-Wing.
I know you do. I did not. Normally, I'm pretty decently set with X-Wing most of the time. Either which way. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe on YouTube, do all that fun stuff. Yeah, we've been getting I guess, by the way, if you, maybe somebody can message me or explain to me why people don't like podcasts on Reddit. I have not figured this out. People didn't like me posting on Reddit, I guess, so they went and downloaded some of our videos for whatever reason. So I didn't understand why, but either way, you can check us out. We'll be back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern. This week will probably be a little bit content light. Just as an FYI, just because I will be prepping for our Planetary Qualifier for that week. So with that being said, thank you. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the flippity flop.
Thanks for listening.